And we are live. Today is November 12th, 2019. Thank you for being here this evening. If you are here in the live, if you're watching us, thank you for watching as well. Big shout out to the replay crew. You know, you guys are special here on the SMT. And those watching in the live, thank you for being here as well. Go ahead and hit that like button, whether you're watching this live or on replay. It's a pleasure to have you here, spending some time with the SMT Nation on the SMT Podcast. Tonight, we talk John Legere. And no longer speculated, but almost the confirmed exodus from T-Mobile. It's kind of a touchy subject. A lot of people are getting disappointed when this happens and it becomes official. But I think it's gotten to the point where we have to expect it. It's not going to be a surprise. Anybody who is surprised by his eventual departure is just a little bit naive. We'll talk about all the details, things that we do know that are going on, discussions, things that are going on behind closed doors, as they say. We'll talk about the preparations in getting T-Mobile ready for his departure, why he might want to leave, what's in it for him, why I feel T-Mobile's actually glad to be moving on from John. There's good and there's bad in John. There's no perfect CEO. Not that it was a contentious relationship, but I think there's a piece of Deutsche Telekom that feels that John has run his course at the company. I'll talk more about that in a bit. But first, in this very beginning of the podcast, you know what we do here on the SMT Podcast. We take roll. So, Maverick, good to have you on. Looks like you were here first. Thanks for being here tonight. Tom is in the house. Rafi, taking care of business. He's got moderating duties tonight. He's got the big wrench. Y'all be careful out there. Watch yourselves. Tread water, tread lightly. The Good Riddance Party. Thumbs up, please, if you could, on your way in. And do say hello to the SMT. Tom, good to have you on. Students awaiting. Well, it's good to have you guys on. Good to see you, Raf. Thanks for being here tonight. Danny, good to have you on. You know what, Jihad, it is an interesting topic. I think depending on how you look at it, depending on how you see T-Mobile as the new T-Mobile, you might feel optimistic. You might feel like it's a new start. For some people that hold on to the past and they have issue, letting go, they'll say things like T-Mobile's going to fail without him, which, I mean, I completely disagree. I think T-Mobile's is a company and it's not a person. As influential and important as that person is, there's never one person more important than the mass or the company. Yeah, please do hit that like button. Good to have you on, Jihad. Should have done the get out of there when I could have. Tech Boner, good to have you on. Thanks for stopping by. Paul from Sprint is taking over John's spot. Doubt it. Mark, what's going on, buddy? Good to have you on tonight. I lost my spot in here. Paul Boyd is here. Yeah, it is a house party, isn't it? Feels like it. Dan Pete's here. Sneedles is doing the happy dance. KM Ellie's in the house. Good to see you. Glad you can make it tonight, KM Ellie. ACDC's in the house. Mikey Tech Reviews is in the house. Thanks for the audio and the video check, Rafi. Much appreciated. Ronald is here, patron, supporter of the channel. Jeremy, good to see you on. Glad you can make it tonight. Keith is in the house. We live. Breaking up. Hopefully that has fixed itself. I'm doing well, Eric. No lagging. Stream is laggy. Uh-oh. Nah, no business at Sprint. Sprint's done with the merger, so David, no to that. No lagging. All right, we got conflicting lagging going on. What's up, Rockstar Mind? Corey's in the house. It is weird, KMLE. The weird part is a guy who has become the face of the franchise, the voice, a guy who advocated for customer protections, a guy who did a lot of good for the consumer market. Bad video. Let me know if that video is not getting better and I can take care of it. Let's stop the cam for a minute while I try to work that out. M. Garcia's here. Yeah, Mikey, I'm working on it. Lewis, what's going on? It's freezing over here, ACDC. Very cold. David is here. We got 59 in the live. Good to have you guys on. Sean is here. Jarrett. Gregory. 65 Hoop D. What's up? Hey, Gregory. Good to have you on, sir. Q in the mass exodus. William, good to have you on, sir. Big salute to you, my friend. Danny. Kameli says, I wonder how much of a factor John staying with T-Mobile is during the merger process. I think it is a factor. I mean, you could potentially see it as ammunition for the states that oppose it. They could say, hey, here's a CEO that's trying to consolidate carriers, and then he's going to leave. And who's going to follow up on those promises and those guarantees for all those consumer protections. I could see that being presented for sure. T-Mobile and Sprint are your providers. I'm a T-Mobile Verizon guy. He didn't leave before. I mean, things have been great. John leaving is not an indication of anything being wrong, actually. This is one of the situations where I think both parties, John and T-Mobile, are probably feeling comfortable at their positions at this moment in time. So there's probably no issue with them kind of walking their separate ways. What's up, Paul? Eric? The gloves. Hands are cold, man. Yeah, Keith. John's probably on his way out. Spring might run away this. John, I don't think Marcelo's long for any type of telecom. Heath, you're on time, man. We haven't really started. Billy's in the house. John is here. Good to have you on. He absolutely changed the landscape, Dan, completely. Not just the mobile landscape, I think, but also like the potential to disrupt with T-Vision and with home internet. He's all a part of that. His tentacles reach far. T-Mobile won't be the same. Yeah, but I mean, even if John were to stay, I think the identity of T-Mobile is going to change. I don't think T-Mobile can continue doing the things that they've done in the past because at this point, as the new T-Mobile, they're just going to be a different company. It has nothing to do with John. Yeah, I agree, Dennis. That's probably the best way to look at it for sure. Continue with the T-Mobile culture and what he's kind of put in place. Jim, good to have you on. I'm doing well, D. Doyle. Glad you could be here tonight. What's going on, Eugene? Life is good, man. No complaints. Fablet Guru's in the house. Jamil. Joeseph. Hit that like button. Yeah. Gene. M. Garcia. Hey, that might be comment of the night, M. Garcia. Might just be, man. Good comment. Timo will survive. The guy's not Jim Jones. Nice. I don't think they would have had unlimited data without T-Mobile changing it. That's probably true, or at least it would have been very, very late in the game. Raina Woman, good to see you. Glad you could make it tonight. Big shout out to the SMT and the Sneedlings from Raina Woman. Thank you for being here. Joeseph here as well. Yeah, they definitely are going to be getting more coverage, but it really hinges upon the merger. They need that spectrum. So dark and gloomy, I guess, for John. Prime example, former CEO Sprint was there at the beginning. Marcelo shortly after. Yeah, that's Sprint hasn't done a good job with their leadership and their executives. What's up, Johns? Video's working good now. Maybe I can bring it back. Okay, there we go. Sorry I'm late. No, Martin, you're on time, man. I was just about to start my little monologue. Wow, snow day, huh? Okay. It's pretty crazy. It's been really cold and stuff. Disney Plus messing up the internet. I don't know if it's all that. Yeah, Mike Sievert is probably going to be taking over. It looks like he's been primed up and ready to go for T-Mobile. There is not going to be. What do you mean goes to Sprint? There is no Sprint. I see what Sprint has done to fail. If the CEO of Sprint takes over, I just no. They don't want any parts of Marcelo or any of those guys. They don't want anything. It's absolutely freezing. it's like 29 degrees Fahrenheit. It's below. No, it's Michael Combs, I believe. Good evening, Humberto. Good to have you on. Yeah, Mike Sievert will do fine. I trust that. Shouldn't he was the suit and tie type of guy. That was when he was working for AT&T. People don't realize who he was and what he was doing. They just think he's this pink t-shirt dude, but he hasn't always been that, you know. Finally made it to a stream. What's up, Jamaal? Good to have you on, brother. Glad you could be here. No more Tuesday? No, T-Mobile Tuesdays will still happen. I just, I don't see why they would get rid of it. Good to see you on, Bri. T-Mobile authorized is in the house. Good to have you on. Might be true, Paul. His job description might be different. He might be serving on the board. We don't really know, but he could definitely serve on some capacity. What's up, Edward Alex? WeWork as a failure company. John ain't gonna. I'll talk about why I think actually the worse it is, the more he wants to go there. It's kind of funny. We'll see. T-Mobile second largest. Not exactly. Not exactly. We need to get you a beanie and you would look like a fisherman. You look fatigued. Not even close, Maverick. I haven't gotten 8 hours of sleep in years. Too busy. I got too much stuff going on in life, and I've got my master's coursework. I've got the channel that I'm investing a lot of time in, and what's up, Jess? Good to have you on. Got work. I mean, this stuff doesn't stop. Tech. It's probably gonna be Mike Sievert. No, this isn't a shirt. It's just a jacket. It's just cold, man. I don't know. I drank a lot of water, but I am thirsty. It's weird because like the heat's on, but I'm still cold, but I'm thirsty. We got a super chat sticker. Let me see if I can see this super chat sticker. Super chat sticker. Let me see. The super chat stickers that's a new feature. All right, so the super chat sticker from Jamil. Thanks, bro. Appreciate the sticker. Got the upside down smiley face. Guys, check out the super chat stickers. They're pretty funny. If you guys are interested in that, it's a funny little way you can interact in the live. He decides to stay with T-Mobile as CEO. It looks like everything is going towards him leaving. I don't see how he'd want to stay at this point. Wait, so we got Chase from Legos and we got Frank from Legos. What's going on, buddy? No, we got heat in the house, man. It's 29 degrees in here. Trust me, I would not be here if there was no heat in the house. It's just I like being comfortable, man. You might like Visible, dude. You might like it. If Verizon's good in your area, you might really enjoy that service. Yeah, it's you might see that happen after the merger. I don't think anything's happening pre-merger because his contract with T-Mobile doesn't expire until April of 2020. So John to Dish doesn't seem like a Dish kind of guy, honestly. Apple? What? I don't know. I mean, the worse the business, it seems like the more capable John is of making a comeback. I'm not sure what makes you think T-Mobile's going to raise pricing, Tech, honestly. Okay, Deuce. I'm sick. See a doctor before it gets bad. I don't feel sick. Tired, sure. I don't feel like awful. I'm just a little tired. Sheesh. Appreciate the concern though, Maverick, but I think I'm okay. Thanks for the concern. It's a shame. Gregory, honestly, too few markets have good sprint coverage. It's hard to say that. You know, Tom, I haven't heard of I3. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, y'alls. Let me just adjust my seat, get in a position to kind of do my monologue thing here. Okay. All right, so here's the situation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover everything there is to know about the John Legere potential departure from T-Mobile. I'll kind of cover why I feel like it makes sense. I feel like it makes sense on a lot of different levels. What's up, 267? Good to have you on, brother. Glad you can make it tonight. Hopefully, you know, you're here in a good mood, man. I know things have been kind of, you know, getting you amped up lately, and I see, you know, things are really starting to get to you, and your voice and your opinion, and you know, you got a strong outlook and perspective, and I appreciate it. 267. If you guys are looking to get into a channel that is straight to the point, raw and uncut, check out my brother over there on 267 Technologies and Traveling. My dude, a friend, a good tech creator. Check him out. 267 Technologies and Traveling. Good people, good content, good perspective. Check him out. All right, so here's why I feel that John Legere departing from T-Mobile, wrapping up his stint as CEO, is a good thing for all people involved. The one group of people I don't think are going to be satisfied, happy, or thrilled about this departure are people who really think that John shouldn't go. That's the only, like, people that maybe are a little bit selfish and thinking that, well, we don't want to give up John. I'm a T-Mobile customer. He's the reason why I'm here. If he's the reason why you're here, if he's the reason why you're a T-Mobile customer, if he's the main reason why you're a T-Mobile customer, you may want to reconsider why you are a T-Mobile customer. When you buy, you know, telecom service, wireless provisions, you're not buying from the CEO. You might consider the CEO. He might be a part of your decision to support a company, but it's really the service. They sell a service. Part of the service might also be customer care, which is a big part of what John does. And that might be it. But it's the customer care. It's not necessarily John at this point. John was the founding voice of T-Mobile as it is the company today. So I say that to say this. T-Mobile can retain all of John's principles. T-Mobile can retain a lot of what he's done from a business policy, procedural, and cultural standpoint. They can keep all of that. The uncarrier moniker can be retained, but it's not going to be like it was before. With or without John, the uncarrier can't exist as it previously has. So this is why I say that the breakup between John and T-Mobile is inevitable, and it actually has to happen on a lot of different reasons, and I'll explain why now. So number one, I want to talk about WeWork. Regardless of your feelings on WeWork, a lot of people know that WeWork is so far considered to be a failure of a startup. It's a company that has required a huge infusion of cash to stay afloat. The company that actually reinvested in WeWork was SoftBank. If that sounds familiar, SoftBank is the parent company of Sprint. SoftBank is a company that invests in lots of other companies. And WeWork is one of them. Sprint is one of them. There's other companies too. They're a huge Japanese conglomerate. Anyways, WeWork is failing. WeWork has lost one of its founding CEOs, and it's down to its last founding CEO, co-founder, and he's gone very soon. WeWork has not found success in recent times. Their profitability is down. They're looking for stability on the executive side. They're for stability in the corporation. They're looking for a CEO that can provide that stability, fuse a energetic, positive outlook-based type of CEO. John fits all of that. It's tricky. Hopefully it's kind of worked itself out. Let me know if that's okay. Is it? Hopefully the audio has kind of worked itself out. I don't know if you guys are able to kind of check that now, but should be better now, actually. I don't think it should be an issue moving forward. It's the audio. Video is great. That's weird. All right, so let's try that. I think it should be good. The audio is okay. Okay, so the situation with WeWork is bad. John appears to possibly be the savior of WeWork. I think if WeWork gets any legitimate change in their CEO position, everything would probably be fine, right? It'll be fine. Things will get better. Now, from a SoftBank perspective, why does SoftBank benefit from this? SoftBank benefits from this because SoftBank is in debt in a lot of their different companies. Sprint's in debt over $30 billion. WeWork is failing and not profitable. SoftBank has tons of investments. They're looking at John like, save us. So, I don't know. Between WeWork being a failure and SoftBank with their bad investments, seems like John is supposed to be some kind of an angel coming down from heaven to save the day for SoftBank. Now, for John, why would John want to leave? Why would John want to leave T-Mobile, where he's viewed as a god? But to John, this is another challenge. John strikes me as the type of person that looks forward to a challenge. The telecom business is pretty much sink or swim, and he swam, and swam well. He took a company that had such a small minority market share, took it from the fourth carrier to the third, and is now competing post-merger to now be nearing the second best position in market share. Heath, WeWork is a company that sells office space. They do like coordinating of, different types of corporate meetings and office space and something like that. We'll get to that shortly, kind of in the middle of this. So I think John really likes the concept of taking on another challenge. And this will be a big one because it's a business that he has not, ventured into, but I'm sure he would look forward to that challenge. I also think there's a small part of John that understands that he has partially been an actor. He's had to put on a show. He's had to act like some kind of person that almost feels unhuman. The thing about John as the CEO of T-Mobile is they told him, be outlandish, be loud, get people's attention. We want people to think and see and hear T-Mobile. And we'll fake it till we make it. We'll wait for the network to catch up. But for now, I want you to trash AT&T specifically and trash Verizon and Sprint as much as you can. And keep T-Mobile as a name in everybody's ear and everybody's mouth. But the problem there is there's always been that little bit of element to John that's a little bit childish as he puts on the show. I think T-Mobile wants to get away from the uncarrier branding. They'll retain the name uncarrier because of who they've been in the past, because it makes them seem like a disruptor. But T-Mobile doesn't want to be known as the small carrier underdog anymore once they get that merger, because once they merge, they're a big company now with over 130,000 subscribers in terms of active lines, puts them up in AT&T and Verizon territory. And to have that old identity as the uncarrier may not sit well with Deutsche Telekom. They probably want to be taken more seriously. And some of that charade that John was running to get people's attention, it's just not needed anymore. And John can't go from being goofy, silly, petulant at times, a bit of an actor. He can't go from that to being a normal, regular CEO. Because people are going to say, where's the old John? People are going to say, we want the John from before. And you can't turn switches on and off when it comes to a persona. That means one way or the other, you are fake. Either the new guy is fake or the old guy is fake. So all of that to say, and maybe the outlandish behavior is John, and that's perfectly fine. But if he's going to get serious, as Deutsche Telekom probably wants him to do, right? They want the next CEO to be a little bit more CEO-ish, not so, I guess, out of the ordinary as a CEO, unorthodox. I think they're trying to go in a different direction, honestly. But they want Sievert. It looks like they have kind of groomed him to be the next CEO to take over. And he should hopefully retain the principles that John brought to the table. Just maybe not the show. And whether it's real or fake, it doesn't matter. John is the show. And honestly, they don't need a show post-merger. They needed a show before, when they only had a 5 or a 10% market share. But after the merger, they've got a 30% market share, 35% market share. So in my opinion, T-Mobile is probably going to want to get away from that, crazy, outlandish, unorthodox approach that John has. It worked in the past. It's no longer needed. People are now going to take T-Mobile seriously. It's just time to move on. So John will benefit because he'll be doing something in a new market that he's never explored. I think he's going to enjoy that challenge, and I think he'll succeed. SoftBank wants to recover money from its bad investments. WeWork wants to become profitable and successful. And T-Mobile wants to continue in progressing in its evolution towards being a legitimate large carrier that offers national provisions that people will take seriously. So that was my monologue, and that was my ideas as to what's happening there and why John would want to go, why WeWork wants John, why SoftBank needs John, and why T-Mobile is okay in setting up an exit plan that benefits both themselves and John. And John's got over 80 million reasons to leave T-Mobile. And it's not on a bad note. It's definitely on a good note. So what say you guys? What do you guys think of the points that I brought up? What do you think of the things that I mentioned? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. The only reason I decided to go live was to kind of cover those topics, give you guys my thoughts. I am in no way, shape, or form blaming John for not getting a renewal from T-Mobile or whether he's choosing to leave on his own accord. I can't speak to that. I don't know if it was John letting T-Mobile know, hey, I'm kind of done here. I'm moving on. And I don't know if it was T-Mobile that said, hey, we're moving on from you, John. We appreciate all you've done. We're now thinking about going in a different direction. Something tells me it's a little bit of both. I think it's mutual. I think it's respect. I think T-Mobile knows that they wouldn't be who they are today without John. And honestly, John needed a T-Mobile to be John. I think John enjoys being the show. He couldn't do that at AT&T. He worked at AT&T. He was an executive at AT&T. He wore a suit and tie. He wore slacks. He had short haircuts. If he hated that, then T-Mobile was the best thing to ever happen to him. He got to be who he was. Live out a dream as a CEO that didn't have to hold back. So, and make millions while doing it. And He has a legend. He has a legacy that he's created at T-Mobile. I agree, Heath. I think when you look at what John's done, I mean, he's put T-Mobile in a good position. And I think they're walking away from each other on good terms. I think the best thing to ever happen to T-Mobile was John and the failed merger with AT&T. It was like the perfect storm. Those two things happening back in 2013 and 2011, those couple of years really put them on the map. That OnePlus guy, Altered Tech, changed the name. Okay, I see you, bro. What's up, Keith? Good to have you on. Just needed to keep this out of the public until the deal is complete. Yeah, but you know what, Corey? The information that's coming out to the public is coming out of T-Mobile. It's people internally at T-Mobile talking about this. The only details we have is because of them. John's not talking about it. WeWork's not talking about it, from what I understand. It's all internal. So it's almost like they're kind of preparing the public for the departure so that they're not shocked. 80+ million, K-Deuce. Ernesto, John doesn't have the same values as AT&T. It doesn't work. It doesn't jive. It's, colors that clash. AT&T is 100% all about profitability at all cost. They sacrifice customer care. They sacrifice customer value. They don't care about customers at all. And John understands customers are the most important part of the business. He doesn't see them as just profits. He sees them as profits and partners. He might retire, but I find it doubtful because of all we know about the WeWork deal now, Sebi. You know what? You're kind of right, CG. He did. It seems like he was compensating for the network with the antics in a way. Joeseph, I don't think T-Mobile's expensive. They're very competitive. They're cheaper than Verizon. They're cheaper than AT&T. The only company I could say is a little bit cheaper might be Sprint in some ways. I think the CEO position for John has run its course, honestly. Oh, thanks, Mikey Tech Reviews. Appreciate it, man. And see, Maverick, that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure I mention. I don't know. This is something I learned as a teacher. If you start your first day of class as a teacher laughing and joking with students, they always take you as a joke. They'll always know you as a laughster and a jokester. And then when it's time to get serious, they don't believe you. So it's better as a teacher to come in gung-ho, swinging for the fences, and being forceful and disciplinary, authoritative, and it's easier to let off the reins later. But to just come in as a joke, people will never take you seriously. And I think Deutsche Telekom understands that John came in with the antics, and it's going to be hard for him to kind of hit the switch. I would take the money. 80+ million reasons. I mean, 80+ million, K-Deuce. It's hard to walk away from that opportunity to take that money and then maybe take a position working for SoftBank, specifically with a company. I mean, what's going to be his position at WeWork? He's going to be a CEO. His pay scale is going to stay the same. He'll be embarking on a new, like a new adventure. And not just the fact that it's a new adventure, but the horizon is bright, I'm looking at the live. Okay, it's updating now. It wasn't updating for a second. Hey, John. Good to have you on, buddy. Mike Sievert. His plan at CEO, I think, is. I think the plan doesn't change much, honestly, Eric. I think the plan is to execute a 5G rollout and a deployment that competes aggressively with AT&T. I feel like AT&T and I guess we'll say the new T-Mobile as a company are in the best position to succeed when 5G. Verizon's in a bad place. Where they have 5G, it's fast. Staying connected is a challenge. Getting connected is an issue. That's right. I mean, it totally applies to this. It's analogous in a lot of ways. There's a striking parallel there. Take the money and run. Yeah, Joeseph, and that's kind of coming with the band 71 600 megahertz rollout with LTE, and it'll continue with their 5G too. I think John's just ready to move on, man. John doesn't want to be around when the public realizes 600 megahertz is really no better than 4G LTE and it's all overhyped. The real game changer is millimeter wave. It's not. The game changer is not millimeter wave. Millimeter wave has its place. It's a small place. Millimeter wave will not get the job done. It's going to have its place. The 2.5 gigahertz is actually where it's at. That is by far the best of both worlds. The problem with millimeter wave is it doesn't propagate. So that means Verizon is banking on LTE in the future, and they're trying to get people off LTE in places where they have millimeter wave. So my next video that I do on this topic, 65 Hoopty, is instead of investing in LTE, Verizon is investing in millimeter wave to help with their LTE. So instead of buying midband and upgrading their LTE, they're just going to roll out millimeter wave in a less effective way and waste money. See, John, they'll either still be on T-Mobile since I've watched the streams on Facebook. Yeah, I mean, but he could do that with WeWork, you know. Whatever John does, I respect. He's a good guy. I think a lot of people agree with you, Faye. They feel that same sentiment. Millimeter has its place, Puerto Rican group, but it is not a solution to the future of 5G. It's one application of 5G. I think millimeter wave impresses some people until they turn around and their signal cuts out, or it impresses people and then they walk around the corner and they lose complete connectivity. I think it's until then they don't realize the ineffective nature of its distance coverage. It just doesn't exist. AT&T is in a good place with 5G, but the 2.5 gigahertz is going to be something to reckon with. Sub 6 is the. I try to tell people that, Ronald. It's it's one of those things. It's a best of both worlds scenario. With the correct concentration of spectrum, it can do what millimeter wave can do. But there's something that sub 6 can do that millimeter wave can only dream of, and that's propagate. There's just no range with millimeter wave. John will either still be on T-Mobile since I've watched this stream. Oh, I think I already got to that one. Tech Boner says, I hope T-Mobile doesn't become another Verizon and AT&T. I think it's always going to be a little bit different. I think the fabric and the culture of the company is always going to be more consumer friendly. I think they retain a lot of those same principles that John had. I just don't know if they can continue to do uncarrier moves, like uncarrier announcements. I don't know if they can sustain that, but they can remain the uncarrier in their identity. Disney Plus servers failing. Well, think about this, Puerto Rican group. I'm on Verizon and I got a free year of Disney Plus and I signed up right away. My daughter is 3.5. My wife wants to watch Disney with her, and I can watch Avengers, right, and all these different movies. I mean, I was excited to sign up for it, you know. AT&T, like John Legere said, fake 5G, no coverage maps. Oh, 2 messages. What's up, Chungus? The Keystone Telegram chat, you're welcome to join. All right, cool. Email it to me. Don't see the need for 5G and what it could be used for. CG, I have to disagree with you. The latency that 5G can achieve, I mean, LTE can only dream of. We can't get LTE really under like 20 megabits, 20 milliseconds. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, there's so many things that LTE cannot do that 5G can. Yeah, I've heard of US Cellular, Joeseph. What's up, TK? Good to have you on, brother. What are you up to tonight, man? Hope everything is well and life is treating you good. Yeah. You know what, TK? I think they're going to retain the customer service care. I don't know if they retain the customer interaction. You know, his whole shtick on like slow cooker Sundays and the Facebook Live and all that stuff. I think some of that is, I think some of that's going to be going by the wayside. I just don't see Mike Sievert doing those things. He's not as extrovert as John is. John is so confident in himself. He just puts himself out there and he has nothing to hide. He is who he is. Most people, they're not so outgoing in that way. Isaac, good to have you on, man. Thanks for stopping by. Slowest speed someone could get during congestion on a 5G network? Well, it depends what the potential of the 5G is. If it's what type of technology they're using, how much spectrum concentration is there. Yeah, TK, and I think T-Mobile is kind of going that way. I think they want to be taken more seriously. I think they want to get away from some of the antics, some of the performing arts. I know John he's part CEO brilliance and he's part mascot brilliance. He's both. Things don't have to be exclusive. Two things can be true. TK, you've been around the block, man. You know these telecoms. You know these CEOs. You know the suckers. You know the real. You know who's effective. You know who's a fake, a fraud. You know Marcelo and Hesse. These guys are frauds. John was legit. I know there was a whole act to it, like he's putting on a show, but the dude was a business, genius. U.S. government should have pushed for these corporations to invest and develop homegrown 5G tech sooner. From Huawei security. All that is true. OnePlus guy. Yeah, I'm in the 20s too, Joeseph. It's freezing over here. Title for free? I doubt it. I think the title thing's through. Yeah, TK, we've seen a lot, man. We've seen the telecoms come and go. We've seen the faces change. And we've gone through the cycles. And John's going to be missed. I'm not here to poo-poo what John has done. If it wasn't for him, my Verizon Unlimited wouldn't exist. If it was, I want to, you know what? Let me do this. Everybody listen up. I want to give a special shout out to John Legere. John, I want to thank you for bringing unlimited LTE back to the U.S. consumer. Prepaid, postpaid. Big shout out to John Legere for disrupting the game and changing the wireless marketplace. I don't care for the pink t-shirts. I don't care for the long hair. That's all fine and dandy. It's irrelevant. But I want to thank him for the customer care that he offers T-Mobile customers, him forcing other carriers to adjust to market trends, him being a disruptor. Big shout out to John Legere for that. We need to thank AT&T for blowing the T-Mobile AT&T merger and firing John. Man, TK, when I did the history of the failed merger between AT&T and T-Mobile, I didn't know how it was going to be received, man. Some people don't like when I speak about AT&T being the reason why T-Mobile is successful. You have to call it like it is. The failed merger between AT&T and T-Mobile gave T-Mobile $3 billion. $3 billion. Just so you guys know, I think T-Mobile was investing like $2 billion a year in their network back then. So that was 1.5 times more than they spent in an entire year on their network. They also had a 7-year roaming agreement that came out of that, so that people were actually able to get 2 and 3G services on the AT&T network if they were T-Mobile customers for 7 years. And if you notice, the last 2 years, T-Mobile's been building out 600 megahertz. What were they doing for the last 7 years? Milking AT&T's network. All of that because of the failed merger. So for us to sit there and say that John's the only reason T-Mobile found success is a complete farce. John is part of the reason. He was the CEO that executed the business plan. But you can't execute a business plan if you're a telecom without a network, which is what T-Mobile didn't have until the concessions from the failed merger with AT&T. And I'm no genius. I'm like the average dude. I'm just saying. John was part of it, but the tools were provided to him through the failed merger from the company he was gone from. 65 Hoopty says just the facts. That's all we want. A little bit of fact. But I do want to thank John for disrupting the market, because without John, I don't have a Verizon Unlimited plan. Without John, most people don't have unlimited plans if they're not on T-Mobile. People started to take T-Mobile a little bit more seriously when they started to gain market share. And it also helps that T-Mobile, while taking care of their customers, Sprint wasn't, and they weren't upgrading their network. Verizon doesn't care, and AT&T just raises prices. You could be dead, and AT&T will send you a bill saying, we're raising your pricing, and you would have been dead 5 years ago. What's up, Tech Lovin' Mama? Good to have you on. Tech Lovin' Mama, when's the next video? We're waiting. Impatiently waiting for your next video. But I'm excited. I'm rooting for John. As John moves on to WeWork or whatever, as T-Mobile moves on with Mike Sievert, probably, as we see the new T-Mobile kind of go through its evolution, I'm excited to see what they do. I don't care for SoftBank. SoftBank sucks. They're a terrible company that doesn't know how to invest their money. I could care less. Every night, buddy. But you don't want to feed them after midnight, Tom. If you feed Sneedlings after midnight, oh, man, all hell breaks loose. Oh, man. Yeah, you feed them after midnight, it's over. You're done. You better get ready for war. John took note that Sprint kept unlimited when the rest went away from that. He followed suit. Yeah, but Maverick, what's the point of unlimited when the network is bad? You know, I can have a Sprint unlimited plan right now for, well, what's the kickstart at? Is it even $25? Anybody can have that plan, and I choose not to. I'd be in mostly 3G over here. I can't deal with that. Been with Sprint for 20 years. Jamil, thank you for the super chat. See, that's the thing, though, Jamil. We got to call it like it is. Sprint's decent in some places. There's a few markets where Sprint is lightning fast. They just need more of those locations. They need more of those markets. What's up, Michael? Glad you could be here. TK says SoftBank is Japan in the 80s. They're just buying crap. You ain't lying, bro. What's up, Francis? It's almost like they're buying all the residual, like the garbage pail juice that's left behind in the U.S. Garbage, trash can resin. They're looking for that trash can resin for billions. I got a bridge for sale in Wyoming if he's interested. Me too, Corey. I want to see Sprint customers succeed out of this. What's up, Joshua? What's going to happen when T-Mobile buys out Sprint? What will happen to Sprint customers? Sprint customers on the postpaid side become T-Mobile customers. Prepaid Sprint customers, we're talking Boost, we're talking Virgin Mobile. Those customers all go to Dish. Absolutely, they do. Dan, they'll be upgrading all sites, LTE and 5G. He's just leaving, man. It's time for him to move on. We don't know. He hasn't said why, but we're thinking that he's looking to move on, and he's got $86 million waiting for him if he leaves, Softball loves buying low and selling high. Really good in the DC area. Yeah, they got a lot of money, but they lose a lot of money. Yeah, it's pretty accurate, Tech Love Mama. It's crowdsourced. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it, Tom. 104 in the live. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Please do like the video on your way in if you haven't liked the video yet. If you're watching this on the replay, big shout out to the replay crew. And make sure you do come in and say hello to the SMT and the SMT Nation. Hey, if Sprint's good for you, Billy, you roll with it. It's a good price, Aaron. I will say that. Dying to know what AT&T MVNO you were trying out. I'll let you know shortly. I'm going to do a couple videos on it. What's up, Brian? Daniel? Yeah, and Boost is one of those carriers that if Sprint's good in your area, Boost is usable. But if it's bad in your area, it's going to be awful. He is a very successful CEO, Joshua. Depends on the network. Depends how the cores work. Yeah, they probably will, Tech Leva Mama. They'll either send you a SIM card or tell you to go and get one. I'm guessing they'll probably tell you they'll send you one in the mail and then you could activate it online or something like that. Yeah, it might work out a lot better for most people. I don't need earmuffs, man. It's cold, but not that cold just yet. Worked for Sprint for 40 hours or years. And I remember that back in the day, long distance. Gregory, you're the minority, man. It's not enough places. It's just you. You got it, Tom. Hey, man. Yeah, Yasmin will appreciate it. So I've heard of Wings, TK, and apparently Wings it's an AT&T MVNO. TK, there's I'm hearing dozens of companies, MVNOs reselling AT&T right now. AT&T's got that Band 14, that first responder network. That government contract has that network on steroids right now. They can support tons of users. I mean, more and more people are switching to AT&T than ever and more MVNOs than ever. It's crazy. I'm pretty sure they are too, TK. There's no iPhone with 5G, Joshua. I wouldn't expect a 5G iPhone for at least a year, maybe two. T-Mobile people will be happy because they have awful coverage here. Yeah, hopefully that would improve their coverage. What's that phone like, Randy? Got you excited. Mid-Ranger? What's that like? You know what? Honestly, Chungus, I'm not a big fan of Cricket. I don't know. It depends on the plan, I guess. 40 years as a optical tech. Okay. So you got some good experience there. Yeah, that's right, TK. 2 unlimited phone lines, 3 6 gigabyte data lines for 83 after taxes. Kind of deals will Sprint customers get when everything is switched to. I don't know what exactly you're going to do. They have been talking about retaining customer lines for a certain amount of years. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they follow through. Visible killing everything. Die T-Mobile, die Sprint. Cocaine Blaze. Honestly, man, Visible's only good where Verizon is really good. Like here in the CLE, Verizon is really good. So Visible's fantastic. In places where Verizon is marginal, Visible's not good at all. Like it really gets throttled and deprioritized hardcore. We'll have to check out that device, man. 5G T-Mobile phone to be the first to try out 5G. Yeah, man. I think I'm going to go with the OnePlus device. If it's a few $100 cheaper than the Note 10 Plus, I'll probably get that. If it's like the same price, I'll go with the Note. Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of people are very happy with their T-Mobile service. Verizon rocks in North Carolina. Got that coverage, TK. You know what's crazy, TK? When I was in Chicago, Verizon was good. It was really good. I was there. My daughter wasn't even born yet. I think my wife was pregnant. So that would have been about 4 years ago, actually. Yeah. My wife would have been about 5 or 6 months pregnant. Yep. Yeah, I don't know about getting US Cellular, man. I need more national coverage, I think. More of a national presence. I like Visible. I think it's a good offer. I like the pricing that they're doing now with the group bundling. It's really, really good. And what's crazy about that, TK, is they're sitting there pushing that 5G millimeter wave, trying to get people off of the LTE. I don't think people understand this about Verizon's millimeter wave. It's not that they really care about millimeter wave. They're just trying to get people off the LTE because their network is congested. I don't think people understand what they're really doing. I mean, it could be their millimeter wave could be amazing. It's hard to connect. It's hard to stay connected. TK, you told me yourself, when you turn around, it drops speed. It drops from 5G to LTE. You can't fall back on that. You can't depend on that. Which is why the 2.5 gigahertz from Sprint is going to be the game changer in 5G for the US. As soon as T-Mobile launches 2.5 gigahertz, the 5G game is now legit. Now it's going to it'll be a fight. It'll be a battle. Yeah, the low band's nice to get the nation covered, but it's not going to be fast. Even with tons and tons of spectrum concentration, low band's the best it's going to get you is 150 megabits per second. But I don't know about you guys, but I'd gladly take 150 megabits per second for the next couple of years. Every time I speed test my networks, I'm getting 40, 50 megs. If you were going to tell me you could increase my capacity by 3 times, I'll take that. Yeah, Rafi, my goal was to be on there for an hour. So we're approaching that hour mark. So anything you guys want to ask or comment on, please do so as we're approaching that 1 hour mark. So Dan's got the Note 10 Plus 5G, and he has yet to get connected to 5G. And he lives in a city with 5G. I think that's very telling. Sprint and T-Mobile share towers. There wasn't really a change in how service has been working. I mean, there's shared sites. They're not sharing antenna. There are roaming agreements where T-Mobile does offer some access to Sprint customers. You'll see it when it does roam. Truth be told, guys, the most LTE available in the US is Verizon. If you are a traveler, if you go nationwide driving, traveling, chances are Verizon's got you covered. If you don't like Verizon for whatever reason, you might find AT&T works well for you. T-Mobile's good, but it's not up to par yet. They're still working on the LTE availability. They're getting there. They have to keep spending on the network. They're playing catch up. And, Sprint's behind. They've not been able to keep up in the network expansion, and their native network is just not complete. Absolutely, Brandon. I definitely think he can. I think Mike Sievert's going to do a fine job. I think he'll do an excellent job as the next CEO of the new T-Mobile. Yo, TK, what are you up to tonight, man? You live streaming? Is somebody in the community out there, they doing some kind of live streaming tonight? I'm about to get off here. My goal was to get on here to be on for about an hour. I think I've hit that spot. I do want to thank you guys for being here tonight. If you could, please like this video before we close out. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you guys for being here to watch as well. we'll be watching the story very closely. We'll be watching to see if John makes his way over to WeWork, when he decides he wants to make that deal official, what happens with the merger. SoftBank is looking for a savior. John might be looking for a new challenge. He's got $80+ million to leave T-Mobile. Mike Sievert likely to take over. T-Mobile might be looking to change the way that they kind of do things at the helm at the CEO position, and that might be why John is on his way out. Could be a perfect storm of all these things. Just, people looking to move on. There are couples that break up and it works out for the both of them, for both individuals. Two people don't have to fight to grow apart. And I think that's what we're seeing between T-Mobile and John Legere. Two parties that are just ready to move on. It's better for both. And it's nothing negative, and it's not toxic. It's just time to move on. So thanks again for being here. Please do like and share this video. Appreciate you guys for making it tonight. Appreciate all who provided super chats, Jamaal and others. Big shout out to the replay crew. Big shout out to the patrons for the SMT Patreon and the Discord gang. There's links in the description box for those communities if you guys want to check those out. And if you want to make a PayPal donation to help support production here in the SMT YouTube channel, that's in the link. Link is in the description box as well. Again, thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day or evening or morning, whenever you're watching this. We do have the podcast on Friday still, so I'll see you guys then for the podcast, and your daily videos always coming fast and furious from the SMT. Stay tuned. Videos up and coming. We've got the history of T-Mobile. We've got the Band 48 CBRS Spectrum explanation. And then we've got the LTE Explained, Data Networks Explained video, working on that. So some projects are on the horizon. Keep it tuned for merger updates. Keep it tuned for wireless updates, pricing, plans. I got a Verizon video up and coming too, so stay tuned for that. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night. I'm the SMT, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.